Hi everyone, it's Di here from Di's Den, and this time, this project is for something tiny that you could put on the table, you know, as table favours or whatever you like. I just thought it was a lovely little box. I'm going to put a piece on the top here because I didn't with this one, but I really liked it. And it just opens up. It measures, let's see, 3 inches square, and it's 3/4 of an inch, or no, just about an inch wide. So this will fit 4 of these candles in here like so, quite nicely. So that would be a nice little thing on the for your workmates or something, or it will hold a nice bar of soap. This bar of soap fits in here really lovely. And again, just a nice little gift, maybe for somebody you work with or whatever, or if you want to do for you know, a Christmas fair function, that's just perfect. Or you could fill it with sweets. I wouldn't put sweets in there now, as I've put soap in there. This one is a pure plant oil soap, pomegranate. It smells really lovely. It was given to me. So, but I just like the smell, so I leave it on the side so that it smells in the room. So we're going to make this, and it's really, really easy. So, and I have left my instructions over the other side. Just hang on a second. Over at my other desk, I have my instruction sheet. So, let's see. Now, to make this box, you're going to need these few pieces here. So you're going to need a piece for your box that measures 5.5 by 8.25, or 8.5 if you're using, oh gosh, letter size, if you're in the US. And then you just move your measurements along by 1/4 of an inch. Okay, then you'll need 2 pieces that measure 2 3/4 by 2 3/4, and 2 pieces of designer series paper, which I'm using up some of my scraps here, which measure 2.5 by 2.5. For my piece across the top, oops, I need a piece that measures 2 3/4 by 3/4 of an inch, and 2.5 by 1/2 an inch, and that's all my bits. And these bits are just for me to do my stamping on. So this piece measures, I don't know, let me see. At the present time it measures 3 inches by 3/4, and this piece measures 1/2 by 2 3/4. But I'm going to be using Night of Navy, because this is what this is. I also have a 3/4 inch, hole punch, which is optional. That's to put the finger hole here. I'm using up some of my old, this is all retired, this paper, so it's a great way of using up your odds and ends. The holiday rhinestones, so they've got some nice blue ones here, so I'm going to use those. So, and I'm also going to use my picker punch to do a flag end on these bits here. So let's get cracking, shall we? So let's bring in our scoreboard, and I've just dropped my scoring tool on the floor. So I've got one on the other end of here. Nope, I don't have one on the other end of there. It must be in the other thing. So I'm going to have to crawl on the floor and get my board, my pick thing. This is really good. I love crawling on the floor. Not my favourite place to be, I tell you. Okay. Alright, so we're going to pop this in on the long side. Now I'll give you the measurements in the size I'm doing, but if you have 8.5, which is the full width of an A4 piece of a card. Now if you've got letter card and you're doing yours at 8.5, the sizes will be 1/4 of an inch further along. So for us, we're using the small end, we need to do it a 1/4 inch line, 3 1/4, 4 1/4 and 7 1/4. Yep. Okay. So if you had 8 1/4, 8 1/2 inch, this will be half, 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 all the way along. Alright, so now we're going to turn it onto the side with the, let me see, and I'm going to score this at 1 inch, 4 inches, oops, 4 inches and 5 inches. So those measurements would be the same. It's just this one here that would be longer. But if you wanted to just chop that 1/4 inch off to make it the same, that's fine as well. Excuse me, I've still got a croaky throat today. Okie dokie, so what we're going to do next is we are going to notch this end here, that's with the 1 inch end, and we're going to cut up this one and notch this 1 inch piece here again. We're then going to be moving across to the other 1 inch piece, and we're going to cut up and notch this one as well. I should have gone right up in there, but that's fine. And the other side of that as well, like so. Let's just chop that bit off, that's good. Then when we get to this little bit, we're going to, on the end, we're going to go up to the score line, and then we're going to notch along that side score line. Let's get rid of that bit there. So that's the front of the bottom of our box done. Now we're going to turn this around, and I'm going to turn my picture around so I can see what I'm doing off. That sounds really silly, doesn't it? And we are going to cut down this to the second score line on the left hand side, cutting the top piece off completely, and then notching in on both sides of that one. Okay, next one we're going to cut down to the score line again, and we're going to notch this one in. We might as well notch it all the way down to there, like so, because we're then going to do the same on this side, notch that down to there, and cut this whole piece here away. So we're left with a piece that looks like this. Hang on, I'll just get rid of that piece in there because I don't like things like that, as you know. And then we're just going to notch this piece off the edge here. So our card will now look like this. Alright, so making sure that when we've done these pieces here, that you've cut away the score line on both of those. So I'm going to bring in my quarter rounder, and I'm going to round the corners on the top of this piece here. So I'm going to pop these ones out of the way for a moment and just stir the corners on this one here and this one here, like so. Let's get rid of those bits. So now we can fold and burnish all these score lines. Making sure that we keep everything nice and square as we go. Same with our bottom ones, making sure that we keep them nice and square. Top ones, again, nice and square. Oh, I didn't chop that bit off. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. I forgot to cut that off at the score line. There we go, just done that one now. and bring that one down like so. Okay, so once we've done that, what we're going to do is we're actually going to pop our pieces of designer series paper on. So we will now glue all of these pieces together. This is designer series paper from a few years back now, but for me it's a great way of using up bits to make small gifts to give to people. These would be great for like nursing homes, because you could fill them with chocolates, because they wouldn't really like them to have candles in places like that, I'm sure. You could also put the soap in there for them, with a hanky, you know, if it's for a lady, or even a man really. You could fold up a nice man's hanky in there. Oh, that's a bit dirty on that side, so we'll turn it over. So that you could give them out as nice little gifts for a man or a lady in the nursing home. So a bar of soap and a hanky. What a lovely idea. Or some small chocolates. Just as a little something. I'm sure there's plenty of those old folks homes, you know, old people's homes, nursing homes, whatever you want to call them, that have, you know, residents there that never get visitors. They might be like myself, not having any children, you know, and maybe they're old and now they're on their own, so they have no one to visit them. I mean, I've got two brothers, but I don't see them while I'm alive, so I don't know that I'll see them when I'm, you know, in a nursing home. I don't see them now. So there we go. So we've done all that. We're going to now turn this over, and we're going to bring this over like so, and we're going to pop some glue along this little edge just here. Making sure we put a fair bit on there, but not going over the edge. And then when we bring the side one over, it's right on there, like so. So we'll sit that on one side for a few moments and let that dry. And while it's drying, and I'll put my pin in there, we will do a little bit of stamping. And I forgot to bring a stamping block over. Would you believe that? There's my stamping block. Okay. So I'm going to be using this set only because I like this Merry Christmas just here. So, and again, this is a retired set, and it's just a shame because it's absolutely one of my favourites when it comes to Christmassy things. So I'm going to actually stamp this in Night of Navy on this white piece. I didn't really put that on there very straight, did I? There we go. I'm just making sure that's all nice and inked up. And I'm going to pop it, oh, I don't know, probably around the middle section of that piece. Now, it depends on what your saying is and what you're doing to whether you've got, you know, you need a bigger piece of card or not. So now that I've done that, I'm going to bring in my picker punch. I'm going to pull the thing out. I'm going to pop this in here. I'm going to turn it over so that I can see it on the other side. Make sure that it's not showing in the window. And I'll cut that piece off there. This piece here goes back in there the same, as there's no words on it. Oops. I like to turn it over like this if you're using this punch, because I can see whether that's square in there or not. And that just landed right in my crook of my arm, and then onto my t-shirt. Okay. So now I'm going to then glue these two pieces together like so. Because I don't know the length that I need of these yet. Oops. Now I think that might be too long, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to just trim this end off. about, I don't know, probably about that much of it off that end. Okay, so that bit's ready. This is my box. This is the only thing wrong with this box. This side here is on the front. So there's not much I can do about that because that's just the way I designed it, I guess. Now I need my 3/4 inch punch and I'm going to pop that in just a small way and I can eyeball that and very carefully punch that out. Oh gosh, I'm not having much luck. There we go, punching that out. Right, so once we punch that out like so, that's great. I have got a tiny little bit of overhang here and I am actually going to cut that overhang off because I don't want it there. That's much better. So if you have that little bit of overhang there, like I just did, just pop it on the side and trim it down so that it matches up nicely along that edge. Okay, so now we're going to pop in our bottom pieces on the sides and using a little bit of glue, we can just pop a tiny little bit of glue onto the flaps. We're going to bring our back one over, making sure that it's lined up nice and straight. We can then move that one out of the way, making sure it's still nice and straight. We can just pop our bone folder in there just to pop it down nice and square. Oops, mine wasn't nice and square. And then a fair bit of glue onto the last one because we want it to stay down nice and firm. Okie dokie, nice swizzle around on the table and then we can go back in there and pop that in. Let's pop my pin in my glue. We're going to now pop a couple of dimensionals onto the back of this. Did that come off? Yes. I'm having a few problems with dimensionals of late where the backing stays on. And I'll just pop this onto the end here, making sure that I've lined it up with this end. There we go. Take my picker tool and I'm just going to put one of these small ones on here, just down here like so, just to finish it off. So there's my little box. So let's see, let's pop the soap back in this one. This will sew in both ways, so you can pop it there and then you could pop a nice little hanky or something rolled up in that corner there. Or if you're giving it to someone else, you could put 4 tea lights in here like so and fold it up and pull it over like so. Well, what do you think? Oh, I think that's lovely. I like the edging better on this one than this one. This was my first one and I did it with a small edging, but I think I like the larger edging on that one and I like the smaller piece here. So if you've enjoyed today's project, please leave me a thumbs up, leave me a comment. I do love to hear from you all. If you would like the written tutorial for this, please head over to Di's Den for stamping, crafting and tutorials. There you will find the written tutorial and it's free to join and all tutorials are free there. The date of the video is the same date for the tutorial because they all go live at the same time at the same date. So and you will find the link down the bottom here. So I will see you again next time. Bye for now.